Thanks so much. Welcome everyone to this session of demystifying social value for SME and Tier 1 perspective. I will just run you through certain things which I would like to cover, but I know we have time constraint. We will try to cover everything within 30 minutes. So please participate. It's an interactive session. And if you have any questions, please put it in the chat box. I will be using Mentimeter today, which is an interactive tool. So please participate and just, share your thoughts around social value. And don't worry about the slides. We will share it after the session today. Um, First thing first, I was reading this book, which is Impact Reshaping Capitalism to Drive Real Change. And this quote really struck me that this is what really social value is. The question is it possible? Yes, it is possible because we need a new path to a new world where inequality is shrinking, where natural resources are regenerated and people can benefit from shared prosperity. I think that really sets the tone for our session today. And just putting the pieces of puzzles together, what we will try to do today, we will try to understand the definition for social value. Let's start with understanding what social value is, then why it really matters. And then we will touch upon PPN 0620, which is the legislative context around social value. And I will leave the session with certain resources and case studies, which will come handy when you are looking at social value. First thing first, my name is Vaishali Bed, and I'm a senior consultant with Action Sustainability, the delivery backbone of Supply Chain Sustainability School. I'm a procurement professional, and I have worked in various categories from capex to indirect categories within chemical and shipping industries. And what I've done with when I was working within these categories, I've tried to integrate elements of sustainability in my projects and tenders. My preferred topic, which I'm working with school and action sustainability, are social value and sustainable procurement. So that's having said that, let's try to understand what is social value. I think there are a lot of terminologies which are floating in the market when we try to understand what is social value. But let's try to demystify or simplify social value and look deeper into what is the real meaning of social value. So the term social value is actually increasingly used as a substitute or mostly like an interchangeable term for sustainability or sustainable procurement, and even nowadays ESG. And if we look further within social value, its scope actually includes the three sustainability pillars. Not a new concept. Sustainability pillars, we are talking from, from decades now. And what it really entails is the social, the environmental, and the economic side. And just taking a little further, specifically within our school, we run a lot of surveys and impact reports. And what we have seen, some of our partners and members, they consider the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goal as the basis for social value. So you will see this, that social value is actually the sustainability, and sustainability is being derived from the sustainable development goals, which we are always talking. So now what we will do, I will actually request you to please use the Menti tool. You need to log in on www.menti.com. It will prompt you to enter a code. The code is on the screen, which is 54515613. And once you are there, I will tell you what we need to do over there. So I will please request everyone to join on menti.com. And the question, what you will see on Mentimeter is, what are the first three words that come to your mind when you think of social value? Whatever comes to your mind or the way you associate social value. So what are the three words that comes to your mind? Maybe you are associating social value with people, with positivity, with environment, anything which comes to your mind. Perfect. Value people, the local communities, community benefit, sustainability, zero carbon, a better world, local entertainment, community benefits. So, what I'm really hearing are the words community, positive impact, benefits, improvement, clean, green, a better world, sustainability, economy, finance, wow, worth, and health. Of course, the well being, specifically during the COVID times, I think health has really put a big effort on our things, what we are trying to achieve. And this really brings me to understand the what is the real meaning of social value. And if I just go in the definition part, the first question is there a legal definition for social value? Some might think yes, some might think no. But the good news is there is no legal definition around social value. But the way different institutes and different agencies they define social value is differently, and that's the beauty of social value. Because just for example, for Public Services Act 2012, they actually consider social value which regard the economic, social, and environmental well-being. And if you will see, it is actually talking about the sustainability and the three pillars. Jacob Symmetrica, they actually define the total impact on people's quality of life, everything which is related to people and the positivity around it. But I think from the procurement context, I would not say it's a definition, but it's more like a phrase which really stands out for me is what social value does when it is done well. It empower people at local level to take ownership of things that matters to them, which where we are looking at the triple bottom line and measure the difference they have actually made. And this is again a big topic within the social value, that how we can measure, because measurement and reporting has also become a bigger piece of social value. Just one tip and recommendation over here, that if you as a bidder you are asked about social value within the tender responses or within your procurement processes, ask your client what they mean by social value, how they define social value, because this will become your first step towards having a process around the social value for that project. This will direct you to what they have identified as their local needs and identified local activities. So, just to simply define social value, if we cannot define social value, what we mean by value, we cannot be sure to produce it or not to share it fairly with the world, because it's all about telling the positive stories around social value. And just looking at Network Rail, they have their own social value framework. And what they have done, they have actually captured all the three elements of sustainability, from the environmental side, from the economic side, and from the social side. But if you will look into this framework, what it actually captures is the positive impact to local communities and people, but also how to mitigate the negative impact which are caused due to the very nature of the rail industry. Because, of course, in the rail industry, there are problems around noise pollution or air quality. And even there are sometimes disruption in the communities. So their framework has really captured well the positive impact, how we can create those positive impact for people and local communities, but at the same time how we can mitigate those negative impact which is created by the industry overall. And going back to the mentee, we have so far discussed about what is really social value all about, how you can define what it really means to you. But now let's look around, why does social value matters? What you think are the, friendly pressures around social value, or what do you think are the drivers for social value? And for this, I will again request you to log in on menti.com with the same code, which is 5451 5613. And I really would like to hear from you what you think, what are your drivers, what really make you work around social value, be it personal, be it professional. What are the drivers over here? So why does social value matters? What are the drivers we are talking here? I'm sure within the business world, there are a lot of drivers specifically from a legislative context or from the customer aspects. But why does social value matters for you and for your business? Support our community and our world, improve well-being, to make a difference to people in and around our projects beyond a profit and loss, because we have to preserve the rights of future generation. So we need to create value that will last, mutual benefit, brilliant, to create a legacy. That's such an important point as well. Perfect. So I will just take you back to what are the real drivers of social value. Again, coming from a context based on our experience, specifically within our surveys, which we have done within our school for social value. And if you look at, sorry, one second. So we ran certain surveys last year, and what we saw that social value has really a lot of benefit, but these three benefit and why it mattered to business were quite clear. It improved the well-being. Let's accept there are societal issues like poverty and social isolation, which has become one of the biggest topic within the COVID era, poor air quality and climate emergency. I think this is really important that we need to work together around social value to improve the well-being of the people for us. And I'm sorry, there are certain, sorry, just one second, please. So yes, so around improving well-being, I just have an example. If you remember last year, there were some floods in Northwest Germany, and exemplary work was done by Deutsche Post. They actually took an initiative with their employees to clean up the place over there and make that area again livable for the people over there. So actually, if you will see, the business can really make a difference in the areas, in the local communities. And it, of course, minimize the negative impact as well. Talking about business benefit, improve workforce satisfaction. Just one example comes to my mind. Traditionally, the process of recruitment have been that as a recruiter or as a company or as a business, uh, people do background check, which is very important. But nowadays, as employees and as candidates, we also do background check for business. That what is the purpose of my business? Is my business in the right area? Are they are creating social value for my local communities? So improved workforce satisfaction and engagement is also one of an important benefit of social value. Helping clients, simply put, if we are working around social value, there are benefits which are felt by sustainable business. And people want to work with you if you are working on social value. They want to work for you as employees and as candidates, and they want to invest in you because I will not touch on ESG in this session, but of course, from the financial side, ESG is becoming one of the biggest topic, and people want to invest, and the shareholders and stakeholders, they are looking for companies who are actually working around social value and sustainability. So even from financial aspect, it will be one of the biggest drivers for getting the funding. For Network Rail, they have clearly defined within their social value framework that they would like to understand the risk and opportunities which are associated with their activities through social value. They would demonstrate the value addition through their initiatives and projects. And of course, it will attract external funding through ESG and other initiatives, and it will enhance their reputation as well. From the risk side, if what happens if we don't work around social value, of course you are actually breaching the legislative and regulatory things, because social value has become more like a mandate, specifically in the construction industry. Complaints and subsequent delays to the operation or projects. And of course, let's not forget the social media, which has became the biggest driver when it comes to sustainability initiatives. And if I can say, the good washing, because the world has moved from greenwashing towards good washing from the negative side. So it's really imperative that we need to work around social value. Again, one tip over here, because when we look around social value, specifically from the project and tender sides, we of course think about the local communities and what we can actually give back to the society. But let's also look from the corporate operations, how our employees can actually contribute to social value, how we can engage our employees to contribute towards social value and CSR activities. So it has benefit for the internal stakeholders as well as for external stakeholders. Going in the legislative context, of course, Public Services Act 2012, it actually puts social value on the table for the consideration of most of the tenders. But what really happened during when Public Services Act 2012, or it's known as mostly Social Value Act, what really happened was that it asked companies to consider social values, and it became more like a tick box activities without any consideration what is really needed from the local aspects. And what really changed with PPN 0620, which is procurement policy note, that we need to actually look at what are the needs, what are the expectations of my local community, what where I am actually implementing the project, what the community requires over there. I'm repeating local community, but sometime what we have seen from the consultancy side, when companies are working on social value projects, they really forget the local aspect around social value. So it's really important that we need to understand what the local communities require, and accordingly we can deliver the thing. And with PPN 0620, what really changes, it is now not only a mandate, but one of the further intention of this act was to open up public procurement to a wider group of organizations, specifically SMEs, VCSEs, and social enterprises, and actually to create a level playing field. And this is an opportunity. I really believe that this has given opportunities to companies to work around social value, and also around getting more tenders and more opportunities over here for SMEs and social enterprises. Going little bit deeper on ppn 0620 and just touching on some of the important points that ppn 0620 requires minimum 10% of evaluation criteria to be on the social value aspects. But again, from experience, I've seen clients where the tender requirements have weightage of around 30% as well. So minimum is 10%, but it can go beyond 10% based on the project, based on the requirement of the clients. One thing to observe over here, PPN talks about 5 themes overall and 8 policy outcomes, which actually includes everything within sustainability. But the point over here is we need to select only the relevant themes based on our sector, based on our business, and based on our project requirement. The ask is not to work on all the themes, but to work on the relevant themes and just have a proportionate to the procurement tender value. Because what really happens, sometimes in some tenders the weightage go beyond 10%, but the tender value is quite low. We need to really keep it in a proportionate value to the tender, because if we are keeping more than 10%, then the tender value should justify why it is more than 10%. So relevancy and proportionate to the procurement value is really important over here. Going again to the network rail social value priorities, the beautiful thing again, network rail has captured all the social value priorities which are actually applicable for the rail industry. But the three important ones are economic prosperity, equal opportunity, and well-being. And if you will see, it aligns with the Social Value Act, it aligns with the priorities of Welsh and Scottish government as well. And of course, the cross cutting theme for Network Rail is COVID 19 recovery, because their ultimate motive is to get passengers back on the track. They really want to support the communities, the local suppliers, and supply chain to recover from, of course, the impact of COVID 19. And just one tip over here, or more than that, the network rail social value framework should be read with their environmental sustainability strategy document, because they already have an existing environmental sustainability strategy, so they have not included that within the social value framework. But when you are working, when you are adapting to network rail social value priorities, you also need to consider their environmental sustainability strategy document, which actually captures the fighting climate change as one of their theme over here. Uh, Going on the process side, now this this is mostly how you will work on social value. But just taking a step back over here, we need to have a retrospective approach over here, and we need to accept that we can't do everything on our own. You are an SME, you are a big supplier, but we can't have all the expertise internally. So the crux over here is collaboration, that many SMEs and companies cannot possibly have all the diverse and wider ranging expertise to deliver social value. So you need to build strong partnership with organization who know the local areas well, who know the local community well. It might be certain job centers where you are working in the local community. There can be certain charities or NGOs with whom you can actually partner and work on the social value. So the process is quite simple, but it requires a lot of efforts and genuine efforts to work around social value. The first is identify and engage with stakeholders. I think we can actually discuss this point in length for maybe for next 30 or 40 minutes, but I will keep it short, because social value again is more for me a collaborative approach. You as a company cannot achieve it just on your own. You need to collaborate, you need to have partnership with different stakeholders, be it internal, be it external. So you need to start with a stakeholder mapping around the project and around social value and see how you can engage with different stakeholders. Understand local need. Again, the same message, we need to understand the local needs, because we have seen in certain projects that the project requirement was more about creating more job opportunities. But when we were looking at certain local communities, we actually, through, of course, certain surveys, we came to know that the local communities do have opportunities within their area, within the purview where they are working, but they are missing parks, they are missing green spaces. So it's really important to understand those local needs of people who are actually living over there. What are the opportunities over there and some risk associated when you are working on certain projects of social value. You need to agree your priorities. Again, let's not work on all the 5 themes and 8 policy outcomes. Look around, see the agreed priorities with your client and work around it, because there will be certain targets related to these priorities. Plan to achieve goal include metrics and indicators. Of course, within this session, we will not be touching on the measurement piece, but the good news is Network Rail, they are using the Rail social value tool, which actually includes all the themes which and the priorities what Network Rail is using. So you already have a tool, and the good news is again it is free of cost, and it include metrics and indicators which are required. You need to implement plan. Having said that, you have the right strategy, right stakeholder, but implementation really plays a big part. You need to track and report, and you need to amend plan if it is needed. One point I would like to add over here is you have done everything what is required for social value, but don't forget to celebrate that thing. Celebrate by telling the good stories to the world. Make case studies, make success stories around the social value projects and share it with the world. And that's pretty much it. If we follow these 7 or 8 steps, we are on that journey of social value and implementing social value for our local communities. Some tips over here, again, not going on in detail right now, but if you are a buyer, what you really need to do when it comes to social value, you need to embed social value throughout the project. It cannot happen that you start with looking at social value from the strategy point, but when it comes to implementation or execution of the project, you are not looking at social value. It should be there in each and every stage. Don't ask for everything. Again, I'm repeating this. Don't look at all the priorities, all the themes within one project. Only choose the relevant one. Make everyone accountable. Carefully consider what questions are asked at tender stage. If you are a buyer, this is a kind of a request. You need to look at what questions you are asking at tender stage. If you are still at PQQ stage, look around and see if you can ask overarching questions rather than very detailed questions. And if you are at ITT stage, of course, go in detail, ask everything possible, but just look around what questions you are asking within the tender stage. Make it contractual. If it is on papers, if it is in the contract, it will get implemented. Monitor. Ask for data to back it up. Of course, if you are doing monitoring, you need to have evidence in place for social value. And of course, share positive outcomes, positive stories from your project. And what happens if you are a supplier? Because you need to set out clear, measurable targets. Don't again overcommit over here when it comes to social value. Set out very clear, very measurable targets over here. Demonstrate added social value. If you look at social value, it is actually going beyond your project requirements. So you need to demonstrate social value beyond what you are doing within the project. Focus on quality, not quantity. I know there can be a lot of discussion around how much should I actually give within social value, but it is not about the quantity over here. It's all about bringing that quality and continuing the legacy of the good work which you are doing in the project. And be specific. Don't don't offer the world within a project. Be specific and just provide whatever you are actually able to achieve within the project. Just quickly touching on certain social value risk and opportunities, and the reason why I have question marks after risk is I don't believe there are any risk if you are working around social value. There are only opportunities and opportunities. Of course, you will attract customers, you will attract better candidates, you will have a competitive advantage, and you will bring innovation within your business. You will manage risk around, of course, the legislative context and around your supply chain. You will have social license to operate. You might have better funding opportunities. Looking at the speed and the pace ESG is taking the world right now, you will have better access to external funding and, of course, investor confidence as well. And it's all about, at the end of the day, you need to understand why you would like to work on social value. So it's all about your personal leadership and organizational ethics as well. Uh, just I will quickly give you certain examples, certain good case studies around social value. One of these are from Network Rail. So Network Rail has a partnership with Shelter, and what they have done in Birmingham and Manchester, they have given temporary accommodation to certain homeless people. And the impact, because it all start with you are putting some inputs, but you are looking at what are the output from those activities. But more than outcome, the outcomes which you would like to actually achieve through these initiatives. They have given certain temporary accommodation, certain permanent accommodation. And what really happened as an outcome, some people also got some job opportunities. While they have a steady home, they have steady income, they are able to build back better their lives, and they're actually giving back to the community. And the interesting thing again over here, if you will see, they have done a social value, or they have achieved social value of around 2 million. And why it is important, because I have been in a lot of discussion, and it's more like a gray area, because some people believe in numbers and some people say like why it is important to put some numbers and some pound signs for social value. I think it is important because as much as our leadership or board members, they love to see these impact within the community, but they also love the pound and pence sign around what we are trying to achieve. So it is important that we are able to measure and able to report what we are actually able to do with these kind of initiatives around social value. Um, we have a lot of case studies within our supply chain school repository. We have Network Rail social value framework around air pollution, around COVID-19 recovery, around inequality. We do have a lot of good case studies. So please look in our supply chain school knowledge library, and you will find a lot of case studies over there. And one of the things what we are trying to achieve within our school is we do have a social value working group. And within this group, we have a SME guidance practical book. So we are working on a guidance for SMEs for, of course, social value. And currently, I'm running certain focus group with SMEs from the construction and infrastructure companies. And what we try, the idea is, the objective is here to have a practical book for SMEs that when they start looking at social value, the way they embed social value within their operations and supply chain, they really have everything needed to implement social value. So currently, we are working on this guidance, and if any one of you is interested to join, please send me an email or send it to through our school as well. And apart from that, of course, we do have knowledge library for social value, and we are also working on analysis of tools report. Again, the market is flooded with a lot of social value tools. An idea is we would like to provide our partners a kind of a summary around the social value tools so that they can make better decisions or actually informed decisions. And that's pretty much it. We share best practices around in our school. We collect case studies. So in case you have any case studies to share with us on social value, please share it with our group over here. And of course, you can access free resources, and you can also take certain free training from our school network. We have really a lot of training, be it on carbon, community engagement, social value, even living wages and modern slavery. So just please go on our school platform and start exploring these free training which are available for our partners and members. Just to summarize today's session, I think it's difficult to summarize within 3 minutes, but I will try to summarize that. Start your social value journey by understanding why it is important for you. Understand why you would like to take this social value journey. Try to understand your priorities, which are the areas you would like to work within social value. And just a big shout over here, don't start work on social value when you are at the tender state. Start thinking about how you can integrate social value within your project from a pre-procurement stage. Understand your local challenges and issues. Ask your clients what really social value mean to them. Go beyond the requirements. It's not about what you are currently doing, but how you can go beyond your project requirements, and keep it simple. Don't make it complex. So with that, if there is any question right now, or we do have any time left, I'm happy to take those questions.
Fantastic, thank you. And I think we've got 1 minute left before we join the main call. We had a question from Rita, which is about social value. Is it a global concept? Will it apply to contracts in other countries, or does it just apply in the UK?
When you look at social value as a term, it's more from the UK context, but social responsibility is more like a global concept. And I can say, because I'm doing my doctorate in social procurement and looking at the global side. Just as an example, in Europe, specifically, Germany has just come with a legislative kind of a regulatory framework around social responsibility, which is known as Lieferkettengesetz. And it actually binds with the social side of the business. So it is actually an international framework, but the way we see is more from the local aspect, which is social value from the UK aspect.
Fantastic, thank you, Rita. And if I can encourage you all now to join the main call again. Rita, thank you so much. We will share your slides, and you gave brilliant links in there to the Supply Chain Sustainability School. I think, as you said, there are lots of resources, but if people do have questions, then let us know, and we'll put you in touch with Vishali. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.